What's up, man? It's the Bronco at the Frog coming at you with another reaction video. Hey, everybody do me a favor right goddamn now. Go to Young Simba channel, drop him a subscription, run the original video up before you watch this video right here, because this is very interesting right here. Get that man to 20,000 subscribers, bro. Young Simba. The truth about the eye test versus stats debate. Twitter, FC. But everybody who is chronically online or just debating with their friends, the wireframe of every player versus player argument always probably circles around eye test versus stats. You got one player who has hella stats or this, but sometimes stats be lying. You have another player that don't really have all the stats, but when you watch them, you are like, bro, oh my gosh, that is amazing right there. Young Simba here is finna break everything down. He said you are currently watching football wrong. Football back in the day used to be all about the magic, just enjoying what you're watching, just taking in the passion and the vibes of football. But these days, it's more so about being tactic robots. Shout out Pep Guardiola. It's more about being statistical, analytics, and being as efficient as you can possible when it comes to winning trophies versus the power of friendship. So, let's see what Mr. Young Simba has to say. You're currently watching football wrong. Really? Let's see what go down.
You're currently watching football wrong. Well, it depends. Which kind of football fan are you? The type of fan who actually watches games and judges players based on what you see? Or are you the type of fan who mainly judges players, not with your eyes, but with a lot of stats?
See? That's a lot of y'all. Everybody on Twitter. Majority of the people on Twitter is the latter hand who just watches straight off stats. Oh, stat this. Oh, well, he has this amount of estimated goals, or this team has this amount of estimated goals. Oh, his dribbling percentage in the final third in the 27th minute is way a higher percentile in the 85th percentile compared to this player. Like, come on, nerd. You geek.
Or are you the type of fan who mainly judges players, not with your eyes, but with a lot of stats? People are still arguing about this after many years, with pundits and the media all changing their viewpoints, coming up with all sorts of reasons why one method is better than the other.
Okay, how can somebody with bad stats be a good player? There are some things that you do on the football pitch that don't show up on the stat sheet. You got hold up play. You know, maybe he's a good teammate. His call outs, whatever he call out on the pitch to make his team go on a run, or let his teammate know that somebody behind him. Like, you know, the stuff that you not go see if you just watch that box score. You just got to see it on the TV.
And while you might think you know the answer, in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly which way is the right way. Completely changing the way you view football. After spending countless hours going through interviews, data sheets, full matches, and more, I determined all of the factors to come up with, once and for all, an actual answer. And finally, you'll be able to know which one is better, the eye test or the stats.
This is even better than the truth about the eye test or the stats. He just straight up telling us which one is better.
The eye test or the stats.
I feel like it depends on the situation.
The eye test works better than stats. While numbers don't lie, they can be deceiving. Can stats really be the best way to determine how good a player is? Well, let's put it to the test. Let's take Zinedine Zidane. Regarded as a legend of the game, a Ballon d'Or winner, Champions League and World Cup winner, he spent most of his career playing as an attacking midfielder, yet he never really scored or assisted that much. In fact, he never got over 90 goals in a season over his entire career. And y'all remember that video about the statistics or crazy statistics that will blow your mind in football or something like that? Zinedine wasn't high up on that little bar chart, or that, not bar chart, on the graph that they was making. And he is relegated, or he's regarded as such of a legendary player because of the fact that back in the day, they didn't give a damn about stats like we do in today's age. In today's age, if Zinedine played during here, I'm pretty sure people would be turning him a new asshole. Only managed double-digit assists once. During his Real Madrid days, he averaged about 15 league goals and assists per season. Compare that to Jude Bellingham, who was 20 last year. Playing in that same number 10 role, he managed 19 league goals and 6 assists. Does that mean Bellingham is better than Zidane? Well, that's a small sample size for Jude. What about Bruno Fernandes? He has some of the best output we've seen from a midfielder. Since 2017, he's managed about 24 goals and assists per season, a way higher tally than Zidane.
Hey, you also got to take into account the way that the game was played during that era. The game could be much faster and more goals in today's era versus the past era. I don't know if it's like basketball, but back in the day, they was allowed to play way harder defense and more physical defense, and the games were slower. People didn't shoot as many threes. But as the game started evolving, people started getting faster, quicker, more skilled. you get more points. It could be the same in football. I don't know.
Plus, he's done it over multiple years. Does that mean he's better than Zidane? Well, of course not.
Hell
Zidane
no.
contributed more than just goals. Just watch one of his games and you'll see he was an expert at controlling the ball with elite vision and passing. He was an elegant dribbler with a very high football IQ. He also showed up in the big moments, scoring in both a World Cup final and a Champions League final. Those are things that cannot be measured by stats. So is it fair to compare him with other midfielders with those metrics? Some midfielders are just naturally have a game suited to scoring more than others. Take Lampard and Iniesta.
I feel like winning has a big key into that too. So imagine Zidane didn't win. If he didn't win, then you gotta look at stats when comparing him to other people. But because of the fact he won World Cup finals, Champions League finals, like, you could be like, yeah, he's up there. If y'all get what I'm saying.
Lampard was the master at the late run in the box with a deadly shot on him. He's managed double-digit league goals 10 years in a row, including the season with 22 goals and 14 assists. His game was more accustomed to scoring and assisting. His numbers put someone like Iniesta's to shame, but that's because Iniesta's
Bro, it is crazy.
His numbers put
Iniesta
someone
was
like
really
Iniesta-
in Japan all of these years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He was in Japan for 6 long years, and they didn't even win nothing. 10th, 8th, 14th, 3rd, 13th. Well, they won first his last year before he retired. But he only played 4 games. Damn, Iniesta. Fraud watch? Maybe find out.
Iniesta's to shame, but that's because Iniesta's style wasn't about scoring.
I'm playing, y'all.
He
I'm
routinely
playing.
dictated the pace of the game. With his elite passing and dribbling, he could create space from nothing and combined with his teammates with his high IQ for some great link-up play. Creativity like this can't be measured in stats. You knew he was world-class by watching him play. 2 very different
That
type
is
of
a
looking stats.
nutty ass
You knew he was
decision, right?
world-class
The
by
position right there. Oh my gosh.
What?
It was a
with his high
Bro,
IQ for some great
it was.
link-up
I
play.
seen a tweet
Creativity
about
like
this on
can't
Twitter.
be measured in stats.
Bro, look
You
at
knew He
this.
was world-class.
Oh, this is nuts, bro. There is not a goal celebration in the world that should have you on top of bloke, ass up all in your face full of ass just like this, bro. Y'all football boys is on a different level when it comes to this. You might as well invite everybody on here to the damn Diddy party, bro.
By watching
Y'all
him
be
play.
on a different
2
level.
very different type of midfielders, both world class. Kevin De Bruyne fits the Lampard
Kevin De
type
Bruyne!
with elite
Ah,
output,
my 2
while
boys.
Modric fits the Iniesta type with very low output. Well, comparing a role as complicated as midfielders, it's hard to use goals and assists. So what about strikers? Their main job is to score.
Yup.
So surely the better the striker, the more the goals. Well, let's take Drogba and
Allegedly.
Lukaku. Who do you think has more Premier League goals? Well,
Lukaku.
the answer is Lukaku.
Yeah.
You may be thinking, well, Lukaku has played more games, so the numbers are taken out of context, but their goal ratio is exactly the same.
Ooh. Now, the only reason I did say Lukaku, because y'all did tell me Lukaku was a force to be reckoned with at one point in his career. And when he played for Chelsea in the Premier League, he was actually good. You know, I started watching on the later half when he was Lukaku and all of that, and Voodoo Boy and whatnot, to where he was nutting up and blocking boys' shots, blocking his own team shots in the Champions League final against Man City. But I did hear he used to be good, man. Drogba, on the other hand, I heard Drogba was straight, but in terms of being highly regarded, y'all don't really give Drogba a lot of PR when it comes to talking to me, compared to the other legends that y'all give PR like Zinedine and the rest of them.
Statistically, Lukaku is on par with Drogba. If I ask you who's better, you'll tell me Drogba. Why? Because once again, stats don't tell the full story.
He showed up
Drogba
when it
had
mattered.
much more impact on games. He combined with his teammates better and always showed up when it mattered most.
So clutch
There's
goals,
also
basically.
another problem the stats argument faces. Not all stats are equal.
Facts.
Let's dive deeper. There's more than just 2 stats you can look at. There's dribbles completed, chances created, passes completion, successful tackles.
Yeah.
But diving deeper into the stats, it just makes this argument more and more flimsy. People like to say instead of assists, you should use chances created to show a midfielder's creativity. After all, they can't force their striker to score, but the problem is not all chances created are equal. Take a look at these 2 clips from Ødegaard's masterclass against Chelsea. Ødegaard makes a standard sideways pass to Trossard. He has a shot, and this goes down as a chance created. Yet this clip where he takes out 5 Chelsea players with 1 move and pass doesn't, because Tomiyasu doesn't shoot the ball, despite this chance only being possible because of Ødegaard.
I feel like a lot of Rodri chances created is on some fugazi shit like this. The way y'all tried to hype that man up, I still regard that Rodri's like the worst Ballon d'Or winner in the past 30 goddamn years, and I don't care what y'all say. I don't care what stat you need to drop. That man did not deserve the damn Euros player of the tournament. I don't care who. He was in the top 90th percentile for chances created in the 80th minute in the final third of the pitch, bro. We ain't trying to hear none of that. We have eyes. We seen the game. We seen Lamine Yamal be a more important team to Spain than Rodri. We seen Nico Williams be a more important player to damn Spain than Rodri. We seen Carvajal be a more important player for Spain than Rodri. We seen Dani Olmo be a better midfielder than Rodri did for Spain in the Euros. We seen Rodri get his ass yanked out at halftime in the Euro 2024 in the final, and then proceed to drop 2 goals to get that goddamn dub over England to get that Euro trophy, bro. We seen it with our eyes. But boys look back at the box score and look at the stats and be like, oh, look at these chances created. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at the dribbles won. All of that nonsense, bro. Y'all get on my nerves.
Don't lie, but you will never have the full context of each and every stat on the pitch and the impact it has on the play. People often take these stats out of context to try and argue something that doesn't really exist. Take the big chances missed stat. This stat is often used to highlight the weaker finishers in the striker position. So let's look at the Premier leaders for this stat last season.
Havertz is ass though, so I don't
Brennan
care.
Johnson, Nicholas Jackson, Darwin Núñez. Those guys have been known for being poor finishers.
Lot of ass.
But far and away, number 1 on that list is none other than the worst finisher in the league, Erling Haaland.
Oh yeah, now that's a big ass line stat right there. I mean, but it makes sense because he had way more chances than everybody else. But Darwin, Nicholas, whole lot of ass right there, boy. Who else on there? Isak is pretty straight. I rock with Isak. I'm not too well versed on Ollie Watkins. I know he is straight, but yeah, that number 2 and number 3, that checks out.
I mean, well, he did miss some sitters last year. His numbers were down quite a lot, so this kind of does make sense. The season before that was when he was the world's best finisher, so surely he can't be there
still
again,
number 1?
except he is. Well, I could take this stat and run the agenda that Haaland is overrated trash whose finishing is terrible. But when you put this stat into context, we'll see create a whole load of chances. They're the best team in the league, and Haaland has loads of opportunities to score, which he does.
So did that
also
count?
gives him loads of opportunities to miss, which he does.
That count
With
as missed
more
opportunity?
context, it makes more sense. Okay, we've spoken about attackers a lot, but what I found about defenders and stats will truly shock you. I'm going to put 2 Premier League centre-back stats on screen over the last 4 seasons. You tell me who you think is better.
Player A has more goals conceded, but more blocks, more interceptions, more tackles, more header clearances, less errors, less penalties conceded, and less minutes played. Player A sounds way better. Even though player B conceded less goals, the goals that player A conceded could have been like stuff that's out of their control. Like, you know, like what counts as goal conceded? Is it when you are right on your defender, or just goals period against your team? Does that count?
Player A, although has conceded slightly more, has more blocks, tackles, interceptions, has less errors leading to goals, and less penalties conceded.
Yeah,
all
better.
while doing so in 1,500 less minutes. So who do you think is better? Well, I can reveal that player B is none other than Virgil van Dijk, and player A...
Hey, you right about that? You right about stats line. You got slap stats say slab head. Way better than Big
Harry
Bird.
Maguire.
Damn.
Is your answer still the same?
Hell
Stats
no.
can be used to tell all sorts of stories without actually telling you the truth. Because stats against Maguire and Van Dijk are always used in Twitter posts and articles to try and prove that Harry Maguire is a world-class defender on par with Van Dijk. This obviously isn't the case. I conveniently left out a couple of stats, not to mention these stats are skewed because United do more defending than Liverpool.
Okay, I was just finna
Maguire
say
has
that.
more chance to boost his numbers.
I was just finna say that if you're on an ass team, especially with an ass back line, you gonna have way more chances than somebody like Big Verge who got a good attack to get your blocks, to get your interceptions. The thing about goals conceded is it doesn't show you how you conceded those goals though. I guarantee you majority of Harry Maguire's goal conceded was in the goofiest way possible you have ever seen. Versus Verge, half of them was probably not even his fault.
But if you watch football with your eyes, you'll know who's actually better. Van Dijk makes way more last man tackles. He's a better 2v1 defender. He's stronger and faster than Maguire. He's better in the air. He scores more, passes better, is a better leader and organizer of the back line. He's more composed. I mean, I can go on all day. But there's no stats to measure the things that Van Dijk does right. And there's no stats to measure the things that Maguire does wrong.
Look at him. Look at him. He just pulled his own team.
There's no stats to measure the things that Maguire does wrong.
Christian Eriksen, boy, you know what happened Euro 2020.
Maguire look better than he actually is. All sorts of stats can be taken out of context, from using XG to claim that one team dominated the game, to saying a keeper with a higher save percentage is better. It's just not how it works. The eye test can be more reliable when stats can easily deceive you. But can the eye test deceive you? What can stats tell us that the eye test can't? It can.
What do y'all think? Before he brings up, can the eye test deceive you? I feel like the only way the eye test can deceive you is when it comes to favoritism and dick riding. You know, that's all y'all do. It don't matter your favorite player. You could be blinded by your fandom of that player and you just refuse to look at. You sitting the whole game dick riding. You like, oh damn, I didn't even realize this player had this many turnovers, this many missed chances, this many passes, because you too busy riding and bouncing and stuff. Wipe your mouth, buddy.
Tell us way more than what we can see. On FB Ref, you have these detailed scouting reports of every single player, all their per 90 stats and what percentile they're ranked according to position. They cover more than just the standard goals and assists. There's progressive carries, pass completion, through balls, dribbling, possession. They have as many stats as you need. The eye test can never give you something like this, and these stats can be great at identifying player profiles. There is a caveat though. The only thing stats can tell you is a player's role. Enzo is way higher in the passing stats than Declan Rice. Does that mean Enzo is a better midfielder? No, it just...
I ain't gonna lie. Like I said, man's Declan PR done fell all the way off this season. Apparently, he ain't been having like a good season compared to last year versus Enzo. Hey, them Chelsea boys doing good right now. That boy Enzo got him a World Cup. You know how y'all just be looking at trophies and achievements when y'all be talking about who's the better player. Enzo got a World Cup, don't he?
Was a better midfielder? No, it just highlights who does what role for their team. Stats can never tell you the full picture. You can never determine who's better than who unless you watch the game and see the impact each player has yourself. But numbers don't lie. You either count it or you don't. There is no deliberation, it just is. The eye test isn't so straightforward. Everybody values certain things differently. For example, there's a lot of football fans who think scoring tappings doesn't take much skill. But ask other fans and they'll tell you that to be in the right place at the right time often is incredibly difficult. The eye test is very opinion based and varies a lot depending on who you ask. It's why player ratings fluctuate so much. In the North London derby, Jorginho captained an Arsenal side that won 1-0, but multiple news outlets claimed that he struggled. They gave him a 5 out of 10, and they came up for all their reasons why. Yet other outlets gave him a 7 out of 10, and he even managed to feature on Alan Shearer's Team of the Week.
Bro, see, this is why when it comes to award voting and when it comes to award voting and such like that, the football world is like at the bottom of the totem pole compared to other sports, just because people are always just so varied. The discrepancy, nobody's ever on the same page. I don't know why. What about the sport? But this person sees one thing, this person sees another. And it always brings me back to my original point of people just being biased as hell. It is almost impossible in the football world to not be biased.
Player ratings will never universally be agreed upon, with some being more harsh than others, with everyone valuing performances differently. In the end, sites like SofaScore and WhoScored, who value their player ratings based on stats, end up being a lot more consistent than an outlet like L'Equipe, who rate based on the eye test. This makes the eye test much harder to trust, but there is an incredibly good reason as to why the eye test changes so much. The answer was perfectly explained by Thierry Henry.
I get annoyed when people do not recognize the skill of a football player, because a bicycle kick, they will recognize that, right? Yeah. Because not everybody can do a bicycle kick or a volley or something out of this world. But people just think that a diagonal ball, you hit 80 yards away, winger making a run behind the right back in a space of the winger. When the quarterback does that with his hand, it's a highlight reel. But when the football of the winger, when the quarterback does that with his hand, it's a highlight reel.
Hey, shout out to boy Thierry Henry for making a connection that I never really put together when it comes to American football to regular football. He say a quarterback do that, a wide receiver make a run through open space to get open. That's a touchdown. That's a highlight. But in the football world, you see
winger.
how I just laughed
Making a run
at Marcus
behind the
Rashford
right
for
back.
missing that
In
shot?
the-
He basically saying give Marcus credit and the winger or the midfielder, whoever passed the ball, credit
Space.
for even doing it. Now, I always give the midfielder credit for making those passes. But if you fluff like that, I'm still going to talk shit on you. Because, like I say, Mr. Thierry Henry, at the end of the day, it's American football, baby. You get points off of that. You don't get
Of the
points
wing.
for missing shots.
When the quarterback does that,
I
with
guess
his
you get
hand,
cool points.
It's highlight reel.
Yeah.
But when the football player jumps, gets the ball, 1 foot in the air,
I give him
full
credit.
speed, toe pokes the ball down, go back on one of his leg, guy comes, blocks the guy,
yeah.
puts the ball down.
And no one's like nothing. It's just like
But sometimes people devalue
football,
the skills of a football player because we make it look easy. Everyone
Yeah.
think that they can play football. And I always say, not at that level.
Okay, now, I kind of, I thought Thierry Henry was talking about something else. It sounds like he's talking about people from other sports who think football is easy, and he is like comparing and saying that football is really harder than it looks and all of that bullshit. Yeah, you lost me there, Thierry. I thought you was talking about something else. I'll yank all your cool points and all my agreements away.
Unless you actually understand football, you simply won't know what to look for to spot a good player. If tap-ins were so easy, well, everyone would be scoring.
Exactly.
A midfielder who plays a perfectly weighted pass behind the defender, right into the attacker's feet, doesn't get that time of day
Kevin De Bruyne.
unless the striker scores.
I give him
and
the
it
time
counts
of
as an
day
assist.
because I know football. I've been doing that since the beginning, ever since I started watching football. Why do you think Kevin De Bruyne one of my favorite players? Boy, he be making the most impossible ass passes I ain't never seen. He go place it there perfectly. If he see you open, you go get that ball. I learned to appreciate stuff like that when I started going to FC Dallas games, like Major League Soccer. I'm in there like, bro, these dudes are sorry. Like my first 3 games, I'm like, bro, what the hell am I watching? I turn on the Premier League. You can see it's miles better.
The eye test just
Skill.
simply doesn't always work because people don't know how impressive these things are. People are more drawn to fancy displays of
Yeah,
football,
that's
while a
true.
lot of high quality footballers can fly under
Not
the
me,
radar.
though.
You may have heard some people call Thomas Muller underrated. In fact, it's now overrated to call him underrated. But some people just don't understand how accurate this statement is. His own teammate gives a pretty good explanation.
Some kids, when they see like Neymar dribbling, they think that's what it takes to be a professional. Like Thomas, before I came to Bayern, like just watching like as a fan, I'm like, bro, how's this guy's a professional? He's not fast, he doesn't do skill, you know? Like you see all these skill shows and you see people doing all these fancy tricks and kids think like, okay, you need to be like this good to be a professional. It's all about the little details. 2-touch, touch, play. If your ability to play 2-touch and your first touch is so clean, I swear, nobody can touch you on the pitch.
He does
Thomas
what needs to
Muller
be
doesn't
done.
have the
Need to be
flashiest
done.
play style, and so he can go very much under the radar. If you don't understand how difficult having a clean first touch or reading an opposition defense is, then you'll have no clue why Thomas Muller is considered one of the best at what he does.
Yeah.
Because even if we check the stats, these are the numbers of a world-class talent. 320 league goals and assists in 475 games. 12 league titles, 2 Champions Leagues, and a World Cup. He should be
Muller.
hailed as one of the best to ever do it. But football fans,
But those 12 league titles, I ain't taking nothing from them, but those 12 league titles was on a damn superpower like Bayern Munich. Them boys won 12 in a row. I shit you not. I feel like 12 league titles on any other team but Bayern would be impressive. But while playing for Bayern, like, come on now, I will also have 12 league titles. Even though Thomas Muller is a key part of that, but still, y'all get what I'm trying to say, man. Shut up.
He should be hailed as one of the best to ever do it, but football fans rarely talk about him because he doesn't do a load of stepovers or score long shots. Another player that fits this well
Antoine
is
Griezmann.
Griezmann. This is a
I
guy
rock
who
Griezmann.
is criminally underrated. He's Atletico Madrid's all-time top goal scorer. He's been in the Ballon d'Or top 3 twice, World Cup winner with a silver boot and a bronze ball, and was one of, if not the most important French player at the 22 World Cup. He's been one of the most consistent footballers over the last decade, yet Griezmann just isn't spoken about often. Thierry Henry even called him the most underrated player in existence.
Yeah, Griezmann don't really got PR like that. I wonder why is it? Why don't y'all give Griezmann PR? Remember, it's not my job for PR. It's y'all's job. When I first came on the scene, I did hear about him because he did the little L celebration. That's the only reason. That's the only way y'all brought Antoine Griezmann up, because he did the little Fortnite celebration. Bro, Bronco react to most disrespectful celebrations in football, so you can see Antoine Griezmann do the little Fortnite celebration. See, that's y'all fault. Why Why y'all not giving him PR? Matter of fact, he just scored a game winner the last game that was in against Sevilla. I reacted to it on Patreon. Go subscribe to my Patreon. You already know the deal. Can't react to it on YouTube because of copyright. Cooked in, Young Simba, though. Hey, like I say, go subscribe to Young Simba for making this great-ass video, bro.
His first touch, IQ, creativity, they're all world class.
Yeah.
Sometimes stats can paint a better picture than what the eye test can when we don't quite understand the impact a certain player has. It's why CDM, for me, is the most underrated position in football. Someone like Sergio Busquets never did anything fancy. He was slow, unathletic, and when you play with Messi, Xavi, Suarez, Neymar, you're not going to stand out much in terms of highlights. But Vicente Del Bosque put it perfectly.
Watch the game.
You watch the game, you don't see Busquets.
You watch him,
you watch Busquets, you see the whole game. This doesn't just go for underrated players.
Hey, that's just like me. Let's go ahead and run that quote back. That's just like me on pro clubs. You watch the game, you don't see Bronco. You watch Bronco, you see the whole game. Everybody be talking about Bronco, get a goal. Oh, Bronco, you're a ghost. No, I'm not a ghost. If you're really watching the game, I am the centerpiece. I am the heartbeat of the team. We hit Elite Division. Tune into the streams. We hit Elite Division because players like Bronco. I dish the ball. You give me the ball, I'm going to keep possession. Everybody else be losing possession, turning that hole over, trying to be heroes. I get the ball, you going on a run, boom, I'm going to hit you right there. Oh, you need the ball, we get it pressed up, boom, I'm going to pass it back. Boom, it's that way. Boom, it's this way. I'm going to do a dribble move, dribble by him. I'm going on a run for other people to get open. I'm drawing this defender. Boom, you got the ball, Coco. Striker, knock it in. You feel me?
Underrated players. It goes for overrated players too. Players with fancy highlight reels tend to be rated a lot higher than they actually are. Someone like Neymar comes to mind, but he was genuinely a world-class talent who actually had good output. Pogba is a more accurate example. This guy was a walking highlight. He could score some insane long shots. He had passes that I've never seen anyone even attempt, let alone place perfectly. Watch our Pogba highlight tape and I promise you, you'll be in awe.
Yeah.
It's easy to rate Pogba a lot higher than he actually is. I'm guilty of doing so myself. But in reality, Pogba had a lot of matches where he'd go missing. Games where he struggled to influence the play, dictate the tempo, and make silly defensive mistakes that cost his team. Outside of his crazy highlights,
5-0, is this a 7-0 game right here?
Of mistakes that cost his team. Outside of his crazy highlights, he was often branded a liability. But you see, that right there is the biggest problem of them all. Highlights. The reason why the eye test will never work and people rely on stats is because people aren't even watching the games in the first place. Most people's analysis on football doesn't come from what they see. It comes from what they hear through pundits or Twitter or sports articles.
I ain't gonna lie.
People are seeing.
I'm guilty as charged.
Here through pundits or Twitter.
I'm guilty as charged, my boy Young Simba. I'm guilty. For sure, a lot of my football knowledge definitely comes from, I'm basically a sponge in the football world. It is too many damn leagues and games to keep track of, bro. I only been watching for about 3-4 years, fool. I gotta just be a sponge and take in all I can and be well versed in social media and kind of learn off of there and what people saying so I can get a general feel. And then I can like watch on my own to like confirm or deny what I've been hearing. Like for example, everybody was hyping up Kvaratskhelia. Everybody was hyping up Rafael Leao. I watch those two players. Every time I watch them in person, them boys have a disaster class. So it's been times where I can watch on my own, but for the people I ain't watched, I just gotta take into account, or I just gotta go with what the majority of the people, everybody else been saying, bro.
Or sports articles, people are judging players they've never watched outside of 3-minute highlights on YouTube. Now that could be because football is very expensive to watch. It's also impossible to watch every game of football.
Exactly.
Most people struggle to even watch every match from their own team. So how do people then judge players? Well, they use stats. They get the results on their phone. They see who scored or assisted, and from there, they decide who had a bad game or not. We know that's not how it works, but for some people, it is.
Yes.
I've seen the goals and assist debate more times than I like to count on Twitter, despite there being more to football than these two stats. Alternatively, people end up using highlights and comps to decide if someone is good.
He shot a slug straight at my ass, bro. I feel, he just blew a hole through my chest. He just cooked me, bro.
I'll never forget when Mudryk was linked to Arsenal. I searched YouTube and watched all of his Welcome to Arsenal comps. This guy looked class, dribbling, passing, shooting.
Told me to react to Mudryk too.
All I thought, wow, this guy is going to be a great signing for Arsenal. When Chelsea hijacked the deal, I honestly thought it was the steal of the century. Well, since he's joined Chelsea, he's done absolutely nothing.
Didn't they pay 100 million too?
And there's been countless other cases of this too. Highlight tapes are not a sensible way to judge footballers because comps can make anyone look amazing. In In this new age of watching football through TikToks and Instagram Reels, seeing players do meaningless flicks and tricks, people have started to misunderstand what actually being a good footballer is. If you've ever scored a 30-yard screamer, then according to Instagram Reels, you're the world's greatest player. This is not how football works.
I'm glad that I don't really be on TikTok like that or Instagram Reels. I'm guilty of the highlight compilations on YouTube. I do watch full games. So y'all can't say that I only get my info from compilations. I watch full games, mainly Champions League. Champions League is my bread and butter. And I have been to a lot of games. But I can genuinely sit here and say I do not get my info off of TikTok Reels and Instagram Reels and all of that. So I feel like I still have a good, decent knowledge on what I'm watching. I ain't got that TikTok Gen Z brain. You know, mush brain. What do they call it? Brain rot?
Number of assists doesn't equal good game. So is this going to be the future of football, where we no longer watch games, we just check out the stats?
Yeah.
Well, that's already how football works at a lot of big clubs. Teams now have whole data analyst departments filled with people who don't watch the games, they just analyze the stats. If you've seen the film Moneyball, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Football teams now make signings based on what the data shows them in their player profile. It's how Liverpool signed Mo Salah. Klopp was eager to sign Julian Brandt, but Michael Edwards was adamant that the data showed Salah was a better fit for the system, and well, the rest is history.
It worked!
It's not just how clubs decide who's good either. Neville went on TV and said he decided his Man of the Match awards based on stats. It just goes to show you that it's not just armchair Twitter fans who use arbitrary stats to decide who's better. There's a few very important people who have a word to say about this stats revolution. Jose Mourinho put it plainly. Arsene Wenger said stats can cheat you. These are two elite coaches telling you that stats simply aren't everything.
They gonna tell you how it is.
Themselves don't like being judged by stats. Benzema said, we no longer bother to look at what a guy does on the pitch, only if he scored.
And you gotta take into account what it say, because that man won Ballon d'Or. 2022. Yeah. He won. That's a Ballon d'Or winner talking. You gotta respect what that man Kareem 15 got to say.
Hazard took it one step further with his assessment on the numbers game. You have players, they score 3 goals by scoring tap-ins 3 times, and afterwards we say, wow, they don't excite me at all. Today, the only thing that matters is having goals and assists.
What's wrong with tap-ins?
We're gonna start seeing this more and more, where the only thing that matters is the numbers of chances created and successful dribbles, or does the eye test still prevail? The truth is, stats and advanced stats are a much more superior way of analyzing football.
Okay.
They simply just tell us more about football. They give a non-biased, accurate representation of every single footballer.
He gave us an answer.
It's impossible to watch every single player and determine who's good and who's not. And it's hard to trust other people's eye test. So stats do prevail. However, you have to look at stats in context. Some midfielders' roles aren't about creating chances or assisting, the same way some strikers offer more than scoring. Unfortunately, people take these stats out of context and love to give it their own meaning to fuel their personal agendas.
Yeah.
So stats in context.
Because I know the CR7 fans mad as hell at this one. Look at this. Messi is the GOAT 01. He specifically put 280 plus assists just so he can exclude Cristiano Ronaldo from this. I guarantee you, if he put 270 plus assists, Ronaldo will be on his list. But this is all Twitter is. It's troll land. That's why I try to stay away from Twitter a lot of the time, brother. It's the Wild Wild West, especially after Elon Musk bought it. It's just nothing but trolls. That's football coaching now. Everybody baiting for engagements because you can get paid off of tweets now. Bro, I made a simple tweet after the LA Galaxy won the MLS Cup. I made a simple tweet joke. I was like, damn. So they get to make the Club World Cup, right? Because they are the champions of the MLS, not Inter Miami. We all know that they put Inter Miami in there just for ratings and money and because it's Messi. Bro, all the Messi fans was in my DM. Oh, you only doing that for a paycheck. Oh, you're a Panado dog. Oh, I'm like, bro, if you really know me, I could give a damn about Cristiano Ronaldo, bro. I am nowhere near Cristiano Ronaldo fan. I think Messi is the greatest of all time, but when it comes to it, I keep a spade, bro. Y'all ain't need to grow
fuel
up.
Their personal agendas. So stats in context is superior than an untrustworthy eye test. But the thing is, you can never ever know how good someone truly is unless you watch them. You can throw all the stats out there to try and convince someone that Messi is the GOAT, but show them Messi actually playing and it will be a completely different feeling.
Oh,
people who are so against numbers being used in football are lagging behind, while people who only care about stats are missing out on the true beauty of the game. Watching footballers do things that stats can never show you is the whole point of watching the sport. A wise man once said, not everything that counts can be counted, and not everything that can be counted counts.
Woo. Albert
If
Einstein.
you enjoyed that video, check out our last one right here.
Shout out Young Simba. Drop that man a subscription for making this great ass video. Like I said, I'm glad he didn't fence shit and he gave an answer. Eye test or stats? Which one is better? He went with the stats is better than the eye test, and I definitely agree, especially with y'all ass. If we talk about another sport like basketball, I feel like eye test prevails over stats in basketball, to be honest with you. But that's a topic for another day. It's gonna vary sport for sport. Like I say, great video. Go subscribe to Young Simba. Go run up the original video. You should have already watched the original video before you watch this one anyway, bro. Hey, I'm out.